Hello, everybody. This is Dr. David Jockers, and today we are talking about 7 ways to balance cortisol levels. We know that stress in our society is at an all-time high, and cortisol is a very key stress hormone. In today's presentation, I'm going to go over what cortisol does and the problems with having high or low cortisol and strategies you can start applying today to help balance your cortisol, which is going to help with memory, mood. It's going to help with energy levels, and in general, overall quality of life. It's going to help you sleep better. And you guys will discover all of that in today's presentation. So if you don't know me, my name's Dr. David Jockers. I am a doctor of natural medicine. I've got a clinic right outside of Atlanta. It's called Exodus Health Center in the Kennesaw, Georgia area. And I speak on a number of different topics, but in particular on brain health, energy, and digestion. And this is my wife, Angel, my little boys, David and Joshua. And so as we jump into this topic, when we look at cortisol, and really there's these two key stress hormones, I guess you could say stress and quote unquote sex hormones that we look at, cortisol and DHEA. DHEA is the precursor for things like estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. So all those major sex hormones, DHEA is the precursor. Cortisol is a stress hormone. And so basically cortisol is really, really key for keeping our blood sugar stable. So when our blood sugar starts going down and our body's not keto adapted, not adapted to using ketones, cortisol is going to come up. So that way sugar gets released from the liver, gets released from the muscles, and the body has adequate blood sugar to support energy production. So that's when cortisol would rise. Cortisol also rises in the morning just naturally to give us energy. Light exposure helps increase cortisol, whereas absence of light helps release melatonin. We'll talk more about that as we go on. Cortisol is also anti-inflammatory. So it kind of gets a bad rap. People are like, hey, you got to reduce your cortisol, but we need a certain amount of cortisol because it's so important for immune regulation, for detoxification, very, very important for memory formation. Think about when we're stressed or when we have high emotional experiences, we tend to remember those things more. And part of that's because of cortisol. However, if our body is desensitized to cortisol, right, we've bombarded it with too much cortisol, it actually can cause more degeneration in our brain. Also very important for thyroid function, for production of insulin, sex hormones. Just really in general, cortisol and DHEA just play such a key role in almost every function in the body. So it's very important we understand how this works. And so you can see cortisol, right? Normally, okay, cortisol, pregnenolone, and DHEA normally are balanced. When cortisol goes way up in stage 1, adrenal fatigue, when our body has an alarm reaction to stress, naturally DHEA goes down. See, pregnenolone is needed. Basically, it is needed to produce both cortisol and DHEA. So you can see here that we start shunting. It's actually called pregnenolone steal, where the body starts producing more cortisol, taking pregnenolone and producing more cortisol, shunting it down the cortisol pathway rather than the DHEA pathway in stage 1 alarm phase. And then also in stage 2, as our body is resisting stress, stage 2, adrenal fatigue. By stage 3 and 4, unfortunately, cortisol starts dropping. Our body's just unable to continue to produce cortisol. And we have a significant reduction of both DHEA, pregnenolone, and cortisol. And really, this is called adrenal fatigue, but really we call it, in more scientifically, it's called HPA axis dysfunction because the hypothalamus, which talks to the pituitary gland, which talks to the adrenals, is not working as good as it should. That communication pathway is disrupted, and that ends up leading to this sort of a pattern, this sort of a problem here. So if somebody has high cortisol, right, high cortisol on a regular basis, what's that going to do? Well, cortisol, we know, plays a key role with increasing blood sugar. So high cortisol levels are going to cause an increase in blood sugar. It's also going to cause higher blood pressure. It's going to cause basically an increase in fat storage. It's going to end up leading to problems with cortisol and insulin, and ultimately can lead to insulin resistance in the body. And over time, it's going to lower our immune response, which makes us more susceptible to infections. So high cortisol can be really, really problematic. And so when we have this kind of imbalance of cortisol, these are the kind of symptoms that we'll experience: energy problems, anxiety or irritability, digestive problems, chronic inflammation, cravings on a regular basis, autoimmunity, trouble sleeping, depression, hypertension. As you can see, just a whole number of different issues that are extremely common in our society. I mean, most people have and are struggling with at least one of these, if not multiple of these symptoms of adrenal fatigue, or, a better term again is HPA axis dysfunction. And so we see this so commonly. Okay, so what are strategies to help balance out cortisol? Well, definitely a good anti-inflammatory healing diet. And the goal of that is to help balance out blood sugar. We need to just reduce our overall stress levels and promote peace. We need to look at life differently. We need to create an environment that helps promote peace and restoration and happiness and gratitude for us. We need to really focus on good sleep. Sleep is so critical. If we're not sleeping well, we're going to totally throw off our cortisol rhythm, and it's going to cause a lot of issues. Deep breathing, the way that we breathe basically tells our body if we're in a stressful situation where we need to trigger a fight or flight response, or if we are in a period where we can lower cortisol, where we can relax, where we can rest and digest. Grounding our body, just getting outside, barefoot, grass, dirt, sand, just connecting to the earth is so important for balancing out cortisol and other stress hormones. Magnesium is probably the most important supplement, and then followed by adaptogenic herbs, super critical for this. So let's jump into this. A healing diet, anti-inflammatory diet. This is kind of where it starts. Starts all about reducing sugars and grains. Why? Because these things throw off our blood sugar. So we've got to get rid of the sugars and grains, get these out of our diet. We want to get rid of bad fat. That's going to be things like corn oil, soybean, peanut oil, cottonseed oil, canola oil, these sorts of processed vegetable oils. We got to get rid of those. We want to add in a lot of good fat. That's going to be things like coconut oil, avocados, olives, olive oil, grass-fed butter. These are really, really healthy fats. They're going to help balance and stabilize our blood sugar. So when we reduce sugars and grains, we get those calories from the fats. We also add in a lot of vegetables and herbs, right? That's also very important with this. And then we want to change the meat that we eat. We want to get rid of commercialized animal products, grain-fed animal products, and we want to be looking for grass-fed, organic, pasture raised, wild caught fish. These are the kind of terms that we're looking at when it comes to our meat. And then if we can set up our diet with good fats at every meal, clean protein, lots of vegetables, low glycemic fruit like berries, lemons, limes, lots of herbs, then we're going to start to see our blood sugar stabilizes. Our body's not going to have these cortisol imbalances, and we're going to function a lot better. Okay, so promoting peace in our life. These are the steps to really creating an environment that promotes peace. We got to hydrate well. I recommend a minimum of half your body weight in ounces of water, and really more like your full body weight in ounces of water. So if I weigh 160 ounces, or 160 pounds, then I should be drinking 160 ounces of water on a daily basis. Neurobics. I've got a great article on drjockers.com all about exercises for your brain. It's called Neurobics. Can really, really help reduce stress hormone and balance you out. Visualization. You want to visualize where you want to go in life. You want to visualize peace. You want to visualize success. You want to visualize just a positive environment, and you'll actually start to move into that and create that. Deep breathing, which I'm going to talk about shortly. We know caffeine and sugar drive up stress hormones. So the more that you can minimize those, the better. Small amounts of caffeine can be beneficial, just definitely not high amounts. You want to keep that under control. We're going to talk about grounding. You got to heal your gut. That starts with that anti-inflammatory diet and the strategies we're talking about here. If you're sensitive to foods, like, for example, dairy or corn or eggs, right? And we need to eliminate those. I think everybody should eliminate gluten. I think all of us have some level of sensitivity to it. Let's all take it out. Some people do well on grass-fed dairy, some don't. Some do well on pasture-raised eggs, some don't. So figure out if you've got food sensitivities, remove those. We need to laugh more. We need to be playing and laughing more. That's so helpful for our body. Get good, high-quality sun exposure. Keep a gratitude journal. Really, really focus on things that you are thankful for on a regular basis. That will promote more peace. And then magnesium is probably the best supplement to help reduce anxiety and promote more peace in your life. And spend daily time in prayer, constantly lifting things up to the Lord, because ultimately he wants to give us the desires of our heart, or change the desires of our heart so they match up with his. And prayer is a way of basically developing the mind of Christ, developing the same mind that God has, and aligning with him when it comes to your thoughts and your desires. And that will help reduce stress, reduce anxiety, and create more peace in your life. Okay, 7 strategies for better sleep. So a lot of these are redundant, but really get good sunlight during the daytime. Believe it or not, that's critical for helping balance out cortisol and helping improve melatonin production. We don't want to be around a lot of artificial lights. If you got a lot of artificial lighting on in your house, it's not so good. I recommend full spectrum lighting, which you can actually change out your light bulbs for better quality lights. Black out your bedroom, right? So black it out to where it's, there's no ambient light getting in there when you're sleeping. Forming healthy sleep habits, going to bed at the same time, or close in a very close time period is key for that. I recommend being in bed by 10. Okay, definitely every hour before midnight is equivalent to 3 hours of regenerative sleep after midnight. So the more that we can be sleeping before midnight, obviously the better off we're going to be. That's important. Also balancing out your blood sugar. So if your blood sugar is all out of whack, you're going to be waking up in the middle of the night. If you're somebody that wakes up at like 2 or 3 a.m. every morning and your heart rate is pounding, that's a sign you have poor blood sugar. You have hypoglycemic reactions. We need that healing diet and adding in lots of good fats into your diet and good hydration during the day. Be smart about caffeine intake. If you're doing caffeine, do it in the morning or midday. Do not do it in the late afternoon or evening. It's going to overstimulate your body. You're not going to be able to fall asleep. And then tame your mind. All those things we talked about, gratitude journals, prayer, things that are going to help tame your mind, help you relax and not dwell on stressful activities from the day. So deep breathing, so critical. Average person does 12 to 18 breaths per minute. Okay, that short, shallow breathing stimulates a stress response. It stimulates our parasympathetic nervous system, which tells our body that we are in a dangerous environment. Like, think about it. If we were, in a sense, if we're scared, we do short, shallow breathing, short, shallow breaths. And so when we're short, shallow breathing on a regular basis, we're telling our body we're not in a safe place. Whereas when we take time to take long, deep breaths, we're telling our body, hey, we're in a safe place. We're okay. We're going to be fine. And then the body is able to start to shift energy into resting and healing and away from survival mechanisms. This is going to help with your mood, your memory. It's going to help with preventing disease, slowing down the aging process, helping heal your gut. So deep breathing is just so critical for overall health. We've got to be adding that into our regular protocol. And I recommend just taking 5 minutes every hour to slow down your breathing and just be really intentional about your breathing. Okay. We also want to be grounding our body. We know that physical disconnect from the earth creates abnormal physiology and contributes to inflammation, pain, fatigue, stress, and poor sleep. When you think about it, our ancestors were always connected. They didn't have shoes necessarily. They were always connected. And if they did, they were leather. Okay, they didn't have rubber soles, so they were always connected to the earth. They were, barefoot or in leather shoes on grass, dirt, sand. Even concrete conducts a healthy electromagnetic frequency. Today's day and age, we're all around cell phones and computers and things like that. These things that have a negative electromagnetic frequency or an EMF that our body has not had a chance to adapt to yet, because they're new when it comes to the history of mankind. Whereas the Earth's electromagnetic frequency, we're very familiar with, and it's natural and it's healing for our bodies. So, I highly recommend getting out on a daily basis, getting barefoot on grass, dirt, sand, concrete, taking a walk outside in nature every day around your neighborhood, or, go to a park, even better, and take a walk out there. So helpful for your body. And you will see big changes with your health, your mood, your temperament, just really every aspect. Pain will be reduced when you're doing this. You'll sleep better. So definitely do that. It doesn't cost you anything, just some time getting outside and doing that. Okay, magnesium deficiency. Magnesium deficiency and cortisol imbalances go hand in hand. And if you're noticing things like poor cognitive processing, you're having trouble with your memory, you're having trouble just thinking sharply and quickly, it's a sign of a magnesium deficiency. If you got headaches, that's like the number one sign, right, for people. If somebody has a headache, the number one thing I give them is magnesium. And I would say 80% of the time I see it go away just with that. Constipation, magnesium. If you do a high dose of magnesium, it is going to help with good bowel activity and help push out toxins from your colon and get you more regular. Fatigue, magnesium plays such a critical role in energy production. So if you are having fatigue or adrenal fatigue, like we were talking about, magnesium is a go-to. Insomnia, muscle spasms and cramping, chronic pain, fibromyalgia, your heart is racing, heart arrhythmias, so key, magnesium. Numbness and tingling, and mood and behavioral disorders. I have said before, I believe that probably 98% of our society should be on some sort of a magnesium supplement. Their dosages are going to change depending on the individual and how long you've been supplementing, but I think everybody, about 98%, will greatly benefit from doing some sort of a high quality magnesium supplement. You can review my video on the best magnesium supplements that I did recently, and that will let you know exactly what I recommend in that regard. But, my favorite is my Brain Calm Magnesium. Why? Because it's a combination of magnesium malate, glycinate, which help with basically cellular energy production and help with liver detoxification. And producing GABA, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, helps calm our brain. It also has magnesium L-theanine, which is the most well-studied form of magnesium that has been shown to actually improve memory, cognitive function, spatial memory, just where we're at in space. And on top of that, helps reduce amyloid plaque in Alzheimer's patients or pre-Alzheimer's individuals. So this is a extremely powerful magnesium. And I see incredible changes myself, and then using it with other people. Even my little twin boys drink this, and it tastes actually really good. They love it. It helps them sleep better and deeper, and it just helps overall with their mood, their behavior. They see big changes with it. So it's just an awesome product. Highly recommend you check that out on drjockers.com. And hey, if you are listening and you want to get any products on drjockers.com, feel free to use the coupon code JOCKERS10. It's all one word. Starts with a capital J, Jockers 10, to get 10% off your order. Okay, let's talk about adaptogens, because using adaptogenic herbs can be so powerful for help balancing out stress hormones. You see, the absence of an adaptogen means your body's going to be less resilient to stress. So you're going to be more sympathetic dominant. Whereas when you have an adaptogen, it's going to make you more resilient, which helps balance out the stress response, which is where you really want to be. Okay, and so a couple great adaptogens for helping balance cortisol: lemon balm. Okay, lemon balm, which also is called Melissa officinalis, is really, really good. It's really good, especially for promoting deep sleep. Super, super good. So I'd recommend using that. As you can see, also good for several other things, very antimicrobial. So you could do lemon balm tea. You could also do it in a supplement, and I'll talk about a supplement that has that in a minute. Ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is probably the most well-studied adaptogen when it comes to lowering and balancing cortisol levels. It's been shown to help improve focus, mood in general, tension in our body, physical exhaustion, helps improve concentration. And this is a great study right here in a 2001 study here, neuroprotective effects of ashwagandha. So Withania somnifera is the scientific name of ashwagandha, in the hippocampus, which is where we store our memories. in this rat right here. And what they did was basically these rats showed 85% of their cells in their hippocampus were degenerative, which basically would mean that they had dementia or even possibly Alzheimer's disease, because again, they're degenerative cells in their area where they store memory. So they basically gave them ashwagandha, and they showed dramatic improvement in 80% of the degenerative cells, showed significant improvement. Okay, and so you can see that last sentence there. Treatment with ashwagandha root powder extract significantly reduced the number of degenerating cells in both areas. By significant, they meant 80%. So really powerful study showing how it protects the brain. Here's another really good study. Obviously, as you can see, double-blind, placebo-controlled study that showed, and this is on adults, so that's always, better than rats, obviously, higher level. And so they showed that ashwagandha was able to reduce cortisol in individuals with high cortisol by up to 26%, which is the most well-studied adaptogen for helping reduce and balance out cortisol. Obviously, what did that mean? Meant balanced out blood sugar. So those of you that are trying to do a ketogenic diet or something like that, and you've got the dawn phenomena with high blood sugar in the morning, ashwagandha can help balance that out and keep your blood sugar lower, keep you in ketosis. So really, really helpful from that perspective. And in general, studies have shown that ashwagandha helps reduce severe depression by up to 79%, whereas the placebo group actually had 3 to 10% changes. Social dysfunction helped improve it by up to 68%, whereas the placebo group 11%. And you can see here anxiety and insomnia 69%. I think I was reading this wrong, but the placebo group was 11%, social dysfunction 3%. And then physical symptoms in general, so pain in the body, right, different things like that, reduced it by 76% compared to the 5%, which was the placebo group. So, huge changes right here. Ashwagandha group really just obviously did a lot better, and that's because of the powerful terpenes in that adaptogenic herb. One other one that I really like for helping lower and balance cortisol is theanine. Really good for helping relax the brain, helps support GABA in the brain. We talked about that with the magnesium glycinate, right? Because it helps with glycine. Well, theanine does as well, which supports GABA levels. This also can support dopamine levels, which help just help balance out our mood, help us feel better, help us be more focused in general, and helps promote alpha brain waves, which is associated with an awake and alert and a relaxed state. And so basically, we're going to be more productive with those alpha brain waves. So theanine, real powerful for the body. And in general, this is going in the evening. This is going to help you wind down and sleep better. But during the day, it's going to help give you more energy and help you feel better. So last but not least, basically what we did was we combined the most well-studied adaptogens for balancing out cortisol levels. Again, that's going to be ashwagandha, theanine, as well as lemon balm. And we also added in banana leaf, which is really, really good for balancing out blood sugar. We put them in this product called Cortisol Defense. Really powerful for helping balance cortisol levels and promote relaxation and restful sleep, mental clarity, and helping you overcome fatigue. So again, if you want to get this product on drjockers.com, use the coupon code JOCKERS10, all one word, capital JOCKERS, capital J, but lowercase OCKERS, I should say, 10, all one word, and you can get that. And we have free shipping on all orders over $49. So if you want to get any products, definitely do so. And I hope you guys have an incredible day. God bless you. We will see you on a future online training.